When we deal with the ordination of women, it is crucial always to remember that the central question is, what did Jesus Christ want? Did he want women to be included? Does he want it for our time now? And the answer is yes. And we know this because when he chose 12 men to be apostles, it did not imply that thereby he excluded women. He chose only Jews to be apostles, but that means in the future the church immediately started also laying on hands on ministers from other races. Also, we must notice that in Jesus' own time, women held a secondary role, but throughout his gospel, Jesus shows that he had great respect for women. It was not possible to immediately impose leadership functions, but that doesn't mean that Jesus thought they were not capable of it. We see this in many examples. Also, we know from the Gospel of Luke that some women followed him in his immediate entourage when he was on his missionary journeys. And when he sent out 70 disciples to preach the good news 2 by 2, we can safely assume that some of them also contained women. More importantly, when Jesus instituted the sacrament of baptism, he made it absolutely the same for men and for women, not like in the Old Testament, where men were the key holders of the covenant because they had been circumcised, and women were members of the covenant through either their fathers, their husbands, or their sons. But we know that in baptism we take part in Jesus' priestly, prophetic, and royal function. So in essence, women, just like men, when they are baptized, receive the potential also of a full ministry as priests. Now, at the Last Supper, we know that women were present. And when Jesus said, "Do this in memory of me," he obviously included not only the men, but also the women who were there. This is also clear because when he shares the bread and the wine, he says, "Take this, all of you, drink this, all of you, do this in memory of me." So women too are empowered in principle to preside at the Eucharist. Now, we know that Jesus also said, "There are many things I can't tell you." He said this at the Last Supper. "But I will send my Spirit, and my Spirit will guide you in the centuries to come. She will let you know what my mind is." Now, a first example of this is that we find that during the first 9 to 10 centuries, the church ordained women deacons. The church admitted women to holy orders because the sacramental ordination that women received is identical to that received by men. Another important thing is that throughout the centuries, so from the earliest times, the fathers of the church, and then later on, there there was a strong devotion to Mary Priest. It was strongly held and celebrated that Mary had part in Jesus' priesthood. But Mary is a woman, and therefore if Mary can be a priest implicitly, it means that women can be priests. Last not least, the Church believes that its doctrine is basically held by the so-called Catholic sense of faith. In fact, the Second Vatican Council defined that the root of the Church's infallibility, inerrancy, lies not with the hierarchy but with the people. It says that in order to find what is the true faith, the church leaders have to search the sense of faith. Now, if we look at today's world, when we have discovered that the reason why women were excluded from ordination is prejudice, cultural bias, it is clear that the vast majority of educated Catholics who can understand the issue involved are absolutely convinced that what Jesus wants is that women too serve as his ministers. This is a clear manifestation of the sense of faith and affirming that women can and should be ordained. Now, if you want more details about all this, read my latest book, What They Don't Teach You in Catholic College, Women in the Priesthood and the Mind of Christ. Thank you.